middle of March this year, 2026, took on the chief sales role at 3Cloud, and phenomenal growth opportunities that are there ahead of us. Cognizant has huge expectations of what they want 3Cloud to become inside of their organization. And that's what sparked my interest. When I joined, I told the founders, I said, you've got me for 2 to 3 years and then I'm out, but you've got 2 or 3 years because I'm all in. And so we're on this journey. We're 3 months in, and then here we are. And in the middle of all that, we're doing some major personal change and moving cross country here in a few weeks, and gonna kind of reinvent ourselves, and we're excited about that as well. But it's been a great journey, and I'm in a space now with 3Cloud where it's back home, meaning it's the Microsoft stack. It's driving real results with great clients, with a phenomenal team, and excited about what the next 2 years looks like.
That's cool. Is there anything specific that you're excited about? Obviously building a new book of business, building with a new company for you. But I mean, what, from a technology perspective, is there anything coming down the pipe that you're excited about just in general? Or is it just more the whole thing, the whole opportunity? Something new.
So for me, it has less to do with the technology, and it has more to do with the overall growth scenario that I see happening. So Cognizant is looking for 3Cloud to become really the Microsoft arm of Cognizant all up. So currently 3Cloud does Azure, and we do it in the US, and we do it as well as anybody else, right? Build a phenomenal business, but we're going to take on all of the Microsoft solution areas. So modern work as well as biz apps over time. Instead of just doing it in the US, we're going to expand globally. And so for me as a chief sales officer, I've got the opportunity where major shift just happened by this acquisition to grow threefold our solution set of what it is we're selling, and to go global as opposed to just in the US. Those are some major, fun, exciting, big rocks to get moved. And so that's what intrigued me about stepping into the role, and the support that I've had from senior leadership to be able to build a high performing sales organization has been phenomenal from day one. And so that's what gets me up in the morning.
It's cool.
Is we're going to build something here, and then in a couple of years, I'm going to turn the reins over to someone else, and I'm going to stay on my boat in Marco Island, and away we go. So anyway, but excited for it. That's the growth. That's what's interesting for me right now.
You're a builder. You always, I'm thinking through, you love to build. I could tell. Yeah. Neat.
Love a good project. Love a good project to build something and create something.
You read much? Are you a reader?
I haven't much lately. A few audiobooks, but the last little while, not so much.
Are there any kind of books that you lean on heavily looking back that you really enjoyed reading or listen? I mean, when I say read, look, I haven't picked up a physical book very many physical books in a while. I'm an audiobook guy myself too, but.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed a number over the years. But even with my boys that are all adults now, and with others that have come to me over time, younger folks and whatnot, there's a few that I always go back to that are just kind of at the core of some solid, good initial learning. The Richest Man in Babylon is just a great mental read around a mindset.
Yeah.
That I've just loved. The Wealthy Barber was one that I've hearkened back to.
I've read the Richest Man in Babylon, but I haven't read The Wealthy Barber.
Yeah. Wealthy Barber is another great one on my short list of just something that everybody ought to have and ought to have gone through. There's, The Greatest Salesman in the World is another one that's out there. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Just some of those. For me, I find that a lot of the newer things that are out there are a great new twist on some basic principles that are there, which isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing, right? I enjoyed at Microsoft, we went through a whole Brene Brown series of training of some things that are there that I've really enjoyed some of her things along the way as well. Yeah. Yeah.
She's exceptional. I agree. That's one of the things I loved a lot about working at Microsoft is its access to teachers and people like that you just would never have got otherwise. I remember this one training that I went to where Dr. Michael Gervais came in and spoke to a handful of us, and I don't know, the Brene Brown training I know was really, really great. And anyway, have you ever made a really big professional mistake that in the moment it felt like, oh man, the walls are falling. This is going to be the end of the world, an absolute train wreck. But then looking back, it's been one of those things where at first it wasn't as big as you thought it was going to be, and or maybe it was, but either way, it just turned out to be a great learning experience for you.
So there's no question that the whole real estate situation that I had going on was that, but it was bigger than, so we started this brokerage. We had almost 70 agents, a couple locations, and that had its struggles. But the other half of that was I never got my real estate license. I wasn't the broker, so I hired all of that. But what I did do is I went out and raised $6 or $7 million in investor money and started to do some large real estate development projects, or was trying to. Had a couple of hotels in Phoenix area, actually, that I was heavily invested in, and then had trying to pull together a big 500 home community here in Southern Utah that we were trying to assemble all the land to be able to make all that work. And so when 2007, 2008 hit, we were right on the verge of some really big banks funding some of these big projects. And then the market got soft and they started to pull back. Well, that $6 or $7 million was literally what was tying up and holding all of this property, waiting for the long-term funding to come. Long-term funding never came. And so literally that $6 million disappeared. It disappeared along with all the land disappeared. And I found myself in a world of hurt with these investors, as well as financially, as well as one particular, it never went quite to a lawsuit, but a huge personal guarantee that had been signed. So there was a good year or more that I mean, we'd lost everything we had, plus a whole bunch we didn't. Chose not to go the bankruptcy route, but literally for multiple years had no idea how we would ever find our way out of it. And so that was a brutal, tough time. And I didn't have any good answers. I wasn't in corporate America. I didn't have a decent job. All of my entrepreneurial eggs had been thrown into this basket that, for all intents and purposes, looked like they were going to go gangbusters and do great things. And then, the only consolation was me and millions of other people all got hit by the same thing, right? So it wasn't just me, but we chose to try to figure out how to stick that out. And again, I go back to something that I said earlier, which is, as much as I would never want to go through that again, I learned things. It put me in a place where I ended up making choices and decisions that, fast forward, I'm where I'm at today. And I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change that outcome, as painful and as hard as that was. But there were points in time there for months and months. It was a depressed, didn't want to get up in the morning, didn't know how to make things happen. My whole life had fallen apart. It was brutal. And I wouldn't wish that on anyone. And yet, it's part of my story. We figured it out. We stuck with it over the course of several years, ended up paying all of the money back to the banks that we owed the money to, and have relationships there that I can count on for the rest of my life, financially, et cetera, this and that and the other. So, but it was hard.
Thanks. That's a brutal story, man. And it's easy. It's great to hear on the other side here, but I mean, I can only imagine in the moment that's just.
Yeah. When you're living it and you don't see a way out. And you just keep scrapping, doing whatever you can. So
that's brutal.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for going there.
Yeah. You bet.
What's the best piece of advice you ever gotten?
I'm going to go back to the question you kind of asked to start with, which, if I had one piece of advice professionally, I would say, and it's what I've tried to instill in my children, build and maintain your professional network and stay connected with that network. That has been the sole driving force and factor in my success.